Hey guys, doesnt here at House Scott. And the previous videos we talked about how corporations essentially just have too much power and authority over us and our politicians. Today we're going to talk about today it's the same day for me. In this video we're going to talk about the direction that these corporations and politicians get to push us in, right? And it seems to us, because we get to vote, that the citizens get a say in this. We get to say which direction our society is actually, heading in. Well, we're not for abortion, and our state's really red or this color, and we get this done here. And like, who really has that authority to be making those decisions? Is it really the people, or is it just people in control? Right? Is it just people with money that are able to make these decisions and giving us a false sense of having some power? And I mean, that's really the situation, right? Because you look at the corporations and what they say doesn't really matter, right? I guess we're seeing that even more with the woke, their wokeism. But before they were being woke, they were greenwashing. Like 10 years ago, most corporations were trying to be like, oh, we're going to be, environmental, we do this, recycle this. But the reality of it is these corporations are already pushing us in a direction that's unsustainable, in a direction where we will have less and less and less of this. All the while, they get to say one thing and do another. Right? They get to say that they're going to be, we're going to be more environmental, we're going to be more socially aware, but we still have the same product, and next year it might be 5% less energy, but like they're still getting away with a process that is fundamentally unsustainable, and they just kick the can down the alleyway a little bit, and it's for someone else to try and figure that out. Someone else who can be sustainable and still make huge profits at the same time. And granted, that's the direction they need to head in, but they aren't making that research right now. The research right now is incremental changes, not a completely new type of paradigm for them, a new product, a new way of designing it. No, it's just small incremental changes that their factory will be able to handle. Their factory that's already, mass polluting or producing CO2, and it might be the greenest factory ever created, but it's still on the grid. It's still unsustainable in nature. So this is the ultimate direction that the corporations are going, and it's the direction that they pressure the politicians to let them go, because it's their bottom line. And if they don't keep going this direction, so many people are going to lose their job, and that's less people who are able to feed their family, and that's less taxes, and it's just this like this system that feeds on itself and scares people to do what it wants, right? It bullies the people, because without it, there wouldn't be enough jobs. There were high-paying jobs, and when in reality these corporations are hoarding so much more money and not paying the people, right? That's why most towns in America just don't have enough occupation or enough pay in that workforce to support everyone. Most towns are, pretty poor. And that leads back to the corporations and their behavior and their pressuring of politicians, which gets nothing done. And they convince us that we're heading towards a better future, a Paris climate agreement where we're going to be net zero. But really, you look at the fine lining, and there's still corporations that are able to emit. Like they're not changing the fundamental scheme of things. It's all about consume, throw away, get new. Consume, throw away, get new. And that's fine, again, if it's like a sustainable product that works out. Food, we haven't even figured out food to be completely sustainable, right? On a mass scale. Like the blueberries you get at the grocery store, that's not exactly sustainable, right? Because they've got to use all this fossil fuels to deliver sorry, I tore this, I don't think. Poor plant, it'll be fine. All the fossil fuels to deliver it, to fertilize it, all the water used to grow it. Like, we don't have a sustainable way in general. There are practices that are sustainable. I'm not talking about organic farm, but on a wide scale, to make food a renewable resource. So like, you can't even feel too good about like the food that you're eating. And if you disagree with me there, well, then you just don't know about the soil crisis that we have. And within a few generations of crop growing, like dozens of years, not like people generations, we're gonna have a soil crisis where the soil isn't gonna be, good enough to grow crops because it's got lack of nutrients, and you can't just keep dumping nutrients in the soil. There are some things that take time to rebuild. So the direction that we are currently traveling in is completely dictated by corporations with power and the governments that they sponsor. At least in the Western world. In the Eastern world, it is dictated by the governments and then the corporations. See, it's a little reverse, right? Because they're way more authoritarian in like Russia and China, where they're trying a different route of domineering that isn't greed-based, but like authoritarian control-based. Right here, we live in a prison created by greed. It's strictly enforced through greed. And in China, it's power, right? Top-down authority. The prison isn't within itself necessarily. Well, they give the illusion, They do a lot more brainwashing over there on the individual basis. Over here, you have the collective basis. You know what? Honestly, I'll backtrack that. I'd say both societies are really good at brainwashing. Here in America, right? And in China, the brainwashing is superb. And that's what puts us all asleep. And that's what these corporations get away with, If we're asleep, we keep buying into the products that they give us and believing that some way we're going to make this happen, through our voting or putting out politicians, we're going to change things. But until we actually change the systems we're using, until we attack those systems and change them permanently, it's just going to keep happening. It's just going to be this unsustainable future that they're painting us and pushing us towards, that we're going to have to buy. On top of that, we're going to have to buy this future from them. It's not the future that you want or I want. It's the future that they need to fulfill their greed, their addiction, right? That's their addiction that they can't get over. Anyways, it's a short little ramble, pretty much on corporate greed and the direction it is pushing our planet and our people. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you disagree, put down in the comments why you disagree. Sure, it's fine. It's what we're all about here, communicating. We gotta spread our ideas, compromise, and get to some common ground. I believe before these corporations push us into an unsustainable future, quite possibly into a little black box that they designed. I'd rather, if we're going into a little black box society, I would much rather have designed it for myself, right? Love you guys. Take care.